morning. We are at Yakuriji, or the Yakuri Cable Car, which is actually a funicular, but they call it a cable car. The main reason of coming to the temple was because of the funicular, and we rode it up. It was actually a very pleasant, 3-4 minute ride. We were told that it's about 20 to 30 minute walk if you do that instead. We weren't even planning on doing that. The reason we were told that was probably more for the people who were doing Henro, the pilgrimage, and there were just a few older folks that just took up off the hill. They knew what they were doing. Probably wasn't their first rodeo. And after getting to the top, we went over to the temple. And it's cool because it's this little walk around the mountain over to the temple. Probably takes about 5 minutes. It's not long. And the temple is gorgeous. It's really pretty. Just embedded in the side of the mountain, there's a temple and shrine. There's this awesome bell that people are ringing while we're there. There was actually a ton of pilgrims at the top. This is Temple 85, so it's nearing the end, right? Because if I recall correctly, you're supposed to go to 88, and then your last one's supposed to be 1. So you go from 2 to 88, then back over to 1, and that's how you finish the official pilgrimage, as I recall from a lot of videos. Anyhow, so as we walked over, we saw the main temple, walked around the temple, did a few offerings, went over and found out that the way up to walk up to the temple has another different path altogether, and we went over there to find a statue of a monk that was just perched on this perfect platform that viewed the entire city here, which was really awesome. And so we went and checked that out and walked around a little bit more. All these temples on the top of these mountains, they have these just wonderful views. Really, really impressive. We finished walking around that platform and then came back, went back down the cable car, and here we are now. So we're off to the next spot, which I actually have to look up because I don't know where it is. Anyhow, we'll see you in a second. Welcome back. We are at Michi no Eki Genpeinosato Mure. Genpeinosato Mure. And we're here to get a rice bowl. Actually try a hamachi rice bowl. I think it's tsukemeshi. I can't remember what the actual name is. So Hamachizuke, I believe is the name. We got here a little early, so we decided to walk around. There's a cool little park behind the roadside station. And at this park, they have a couple of neat things, one being a train, one of the earlier trains here that's been retired, and you're allowed to walk all over and see the controls and everything. It's pretty neat. I am at a park, so what was really funny is a little girl that walked up to me and just started talking to me all of a sudden out of nowhere, and she was pretty freaked out when I started talking back to her, particularly because she found out that I wasn't Japanese at a very late stage. Lynn, when do kids begin learning to talk? About 3?
No.
2?
At 1.
One?
Yeah, no, babbling.
Okay, because I think she was, actually making full sentences and stuff. Where you
It could go as early as 18 months, Charles.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah, they could go pretty early.
Okay, I was guesstimating that she was about 4 or 5 years old.
Oh, she's probably 3.
Is she 3?
Probably 3 or 4.
Because she could say full sentences.
Yeah,
She's about that girl's age.
That girl's probably 3 and a half or 4.
Okay, so yeah. I wasn't off.
Yeah.
So anyhow, played with her on the train a little, and then went over to a stone phone that they have. It's an art installment inside the park, which they actually have plenty of. And I called Lynn over so that we could actually chat together and test the phone out. It actually works. I think the audio will be picked up on the camera. I'll overlay it right now, or cut it in right now.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
That's so crazy. Yeah, the camera could pick you up. So
Really?
yeah, I could see your voice moving. Obviously mine's louder, but when you say something, it picks it up. That's pretty crazy.
That's crazy. I just heard the click of the camera. That's funny. Oh, okay.
Cool. So hopefully that audio came out. I'm not 100% sure. I can't hear it obviously, as I'm still at the Michi no Eki, but you could clearly hear her when you're just standing behind the stone, which is pretty awesome. And then we went to go see the Setouchi Sea. It's at a platform, it's beyond some art installment, and we just went over to go check it out before walking back to the restaurant area. So now we're here, we're gonna go in and grab some food. Lynn's been looking for a stamp like a mad person, and she hasn't been able to find it. It's really been upsetting, but it sounds pretty loud in there, so probably should get going. Oh yeah, there's a line. We're gonna get going. I'll check back in a moment. Welcome back. We are currently at Kinrin Park, also known as Tsuro no Matsubara. It is famous for the 3,000 pine trees that litter the beach, and pretty fantastic looking. Really, I'm checking in right now because I wanted to go over the fact that we just left the Michi no Eki after eating a Hamachi Don, and it was delicious. Like, Lynn went in and she wasn't really all that hungry. So I just grabbed a simple side, some vegetables that I wanted to eat, and the two hamachi dons. I didn't get the large ones because we're gonna go get udon right after we leave this place. And what's funny is that when we both took our first bite, it was just, we were blown away. I only have photos of the food or video of the footage of the food because the place was packed, jam-packed, and like, you would never imagine that like a roadside station is the place where people would be making an adventure to in order to get food. So it's pretty crazy. That being said, the food was delicious, and the fish was so fresh and clean, very savory. The raw egg yolk on the rice just made the rice that much better. Like, the flavors were just perfect. It was like salty, sweet, and then you had like a little extra saltiness from the seaweed that was on top. God, it was like perfect. And then the wasabi was actually like fresh wasabi. It wasn't the stuff out of a tube. So it wasn't just some painted item or dyed item. It was like, it had that nice sweetness to that kind of, I don't want to say intense burn. It didn't really burn, but you knew it was wasabi, but it was more sweet than anything else. Also, the weather turned out to be really nice today. Took off my sweatshirt, but I just wanted to mention that before I forgot. And so we're gonna go walk around Kinrin Park and take a few photos. It's actually looks smaller than I actually thought it was gonna be. I mean, it's 3,000 hectares, so that's not small, unless I'm reading it wrong. Maybe it was just the 3,000 pine trees. I don't know. I'll have to go back and check out the sign, but I could see the Onegai Bridge, the Wish Bridge, that you're supposed to go check out in a second here. So we'll walk, check out the beach a little, and then we'll check back in. All right, back in a moment. All right, back from the park. We actually walked all the way over to the water of the inlet sea, checked out the platform for prayers to the ocean gods, I would only assume, or offerings. We also went over to the Onegai Bridge that I mentioned earlier, crossed it and made our wishes. Kind of one really interesting thing is that, I don't know if I mentioned this in the video just a few seconds ago, but the trees that are here help prevent erosion. And the reason for the name of this park is actually because when the wind blows through here, it could sound like someone playing the strings of a koto, a traditional Japanese harp, I think is what it is, or a traditional Japanese string instrument is probably the best way to put it. I have to say, this is very Henro friendly, as even though we're going from music to a total different pilgrimage thing, there's a lot of free things here for you to use. The restrooms are free, which, I mean, that's all over the island. But one of the craziest things that I just ran across was there's a free shower system here for you to use. So you could go in and take a shower. The only thing that would make this even more intriguing is if you could just spend the night here on the beach, like pitch a tent and just sleep there and you'd be set. I don't know. The place is really cool though, and it's a very, very different type of beach. The sand at this particular beach is very, very rough in comparison to like Chichibu, which we went to yesterday. One of the kind of like the crazy things is right now the tide is out, so the water underneath the Onegai Bridge is actually out. Kind of wish it was the other way around, where when we're at Chichibu the tide was out, and when we're here the tide was in. That way we could have seen what it looked like with the ocean water underneath it, as well as the crazy reflections of the Chichibu Beach, which are supposed to look like the salt flats. It is what it is. That's part of travel. And so I think we're going to go visit a shrine. That's just actually right here. It's not like it's a far cry or a far distance. But we're going to hit up the shrine, and then we're going to eat again and go get some udon. That's famous. Sanuki udon in Sanuki City. So we should probably get some Marugame udon in Marugame. Anyhow, we'll check back in a moment here. Welcome back. We are at Ritsuen Park, Koen, and this place is fantastic. For the price of admission and what you get to see, it is crazy. And we didn't even go to the museums, which are right over here. There's actual museums in here. I'm holding a stamp rally that we took part in. We're only missing the first stamp, which was actually at the entrance because we didn't think about doing it until we were at the second stamp, and we're like, well, we parked next to the first stamp, so we'll just do that at that point. We followed the north route, and then once we got to a certain point, we actually just cut over to the south route to kind of see the entire park. So we stayed here a little bit longer than was planned, but it was totally worth it. Like, everything you see here is really, really well placed, and everything is very, very well maintained. It is really impressive. And the amount of tea places in here, whether it's like high class, like tea ceremony type, or like just a little shack that you see in like anime where the samurai sit down and grab some dango and have a cup of tea, is impressive. They're practically every 50 meters. I think I'm in the only area that doesn't have anything that's exposed right now that you can see. We're exiting the place now, so we are at the entrance to get our last stamp. And the place is just incredible. Like, I can't explain how beautiful this place is. And I'm gonna have to look it up because I know that Korakuen is one of the top 3 beautiful parks in Japan. I don't know what number 2 or what the other 2 are, not number 2, but the other 2. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was one of them. This place is just so pretty. I am thoroughly impressed. And at the cost of like, I think it was $4.60 a person. It was less than 1 coin to get in, less than a 500 yen coin to get in. This place is impressive. And it's very large. And you definitely spend longer than the 90 minutes that we did here. Like, if you actually took in everything, I would say we spent a good chunk of a half an hour talking to family back in America while walking around showing them the garden too, so that actually slowed us down. But this was worth every penny, and I don't know, I just can't explain how great this is. Another thing, I don't know if there's a ceremony or something that just happened. There are a ton of people that are walking around that are in kimonos, or they have flowers, and they're just, I wouldn't know. One's passing me right there. Trying to avoid filming her face. But we finished the stamp rally. We actually handed it over to the northern, or the eastern gate now. Lynn's actually taking care of that. And we're about to go pay for parking and get out of here. Oh, one random note. All the leaves are green. So the autumn fall colors are not really here yet, which is pretty crazy. And so it was one thing that we were kind of trying to figure out what's going on. Says everything. Oh, nice. Oh yeah, that's great.
That's so awesome.
We're filling out that
Stamp rally.
Lynn got a really cool looking sticker.
And you also get a finishing stamp right there. Shows that you got it.
Oh, okay, and it's,
Yeah.
I think it says kuri, as in
She also let me stamp our
chestnut.
notebooks with it.
Oh, nice. So we completed all the stamps of the stamp rally. Lynn got her sticker.
Yeah, and then you also
Great
get a
times.
bag of origami.
Oh, and she got a bag of origami as well.
Cool. Yeah, I'll take it.
Why not? Yeah, it's all good. Now it's time to hop on to the next spot. I actually think I have more B-roll than I do A-roll for everything I said. I might actually just have to put stuff at the end of the video because this place is so nice. Anyhow, we will check back in a moment here once we get to the next spot. Back in a sec. Welcome back. We are at Takamatsu Castle Park, and it's more ruins than it is actual castle, but there's actually one main reason why I wanted to come to this specific castle, aside from the fact that we've gone to every major city, every capital castle, I believe. Yeah, every major city's castle. So Matsuyama, Takamatsu, Kochi, or this is Takamatsu, I'm sorry, Tokushima, Kochi, and now Takamatsu. So the main thing that I wanted to come to this one for, though, was the moat is salt water. And in the salt water here, they have sea bream. And you could feed the sea bream. So Lynn, liking to feed things, paid the 100 yen, got a ball full of fish food, and started feeding the sea bream. It's very different than well, I guess it's similar to the koi, but to me it looks very different. We are now making our way over the Bashi, or the Saya Bridge, and we will be going over to the observation point. But as the place closes in about 20 minutes, I probably won't be doing another check-in while here. I was hoping that I could use their parking area here as a free parking to go to the next spot, but it's not looking good. So, looks like they closed the lots too, which means we might have to pay for parking. I might have to figure out where we're going to be parking. But the next spot's just right down the street, so it's not bad. Anyhow, we'll check back in a moment here once we get to the next area. Back in a sec. Welcome back. As I stand here at the very edge of Tamamo Pier in Takamatsu Harbor, and that is the famous lit tower at the edge of the pier, and that is a boat. There's actually another one, yeah, right there. That's going out. Those are the ferries that we will be taking tomorrow. At least I hope they are. I'm gonna go find out where I need to park the car in order to get onto the appropriate ferry at 8:02, I believe, is our departure time, but that means we have to be here by 7:30, 7:20, 7:30-ish to load up. We're going to Shotoshima, which is, I don't know if it actually came out in the video or not, but both of them said olive on it, I believe, or one had yadon on it, slowpoke. Those go to the port that I need to go to. There's actually two ports in Shotoshima that we could land at, so I need to make sure I get on the right boat because I need to land at the right pier. That's the one I have the reservation set for. Anyhow, we are here solely just to see this pier that I'm on right now, and we just walked it, and then that lighthouse to make sure that boats don't crash into it, I suppose, would be the reason why that's there. It's an art installation that was installed quite a while back. It has all these red lights in it, and that's purposeful rather than just the one on top. So rather than being more like a candle, it's more like an LED light, which is pretty awesome. This is pretty much it for the day. We're gonna go get dinner here in a second, so I'll probably do one last check-in. It's going, pushing what, 5:30? It's 5:26 exact. Yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and check out this pier. We'll probably get dinner somewhere in this harbor. Since we're already here and I'm already paying for parking, might as well. That'll do it. I'll check back in a moment here once we actually get to figuring out what we want to eat. So the parking situation, just to go into that real quick, we left the castle and just drove for like 5 minutes, and there's actually a parking lot right at the edge of this pier, and so we parked there and walked over here. That was pretty much it. Obviously I've been here for about probably 20 minutes now. We left the castle at about, I would say, 55-ish, maybe 5 o'clock on the dot. We're pretty close to it being done, and then the drive over wasn't all that bad. One train got in the way, that was it, and so you have to wait for the train to pass. Other than that, we made it over, got to the parking lot. It was fairly simple, straightforward. Walk down the pier. The pier is really long. I don't know if it's going to come out in the video, but I'll definitely try to get footage of the pier. Maybe a photo, a long exposed photo will be better. But yeah, we'll check back in a moment here once I get back to the hotel. I think that'll be the last one. We're going to go get food now, dinner, and then back to the hotel. All right, check back in a moment. Welcome back, and obviously I'm in the hotel room now. We've left the castle and the lighthouse. We went over to try to figure out where to put the car tomorrow morning, but that was actually kind of weird. So our office was apparently closed, and the office next to it didn't know any information, like where our cars would go or where their cars would go, which was kind of weird. They also had no idea where the office that I needed to talk to was. And I don't mean like how many doors down. I was just like, oh, when she told me I was at the wrong company, I asked if the company was in the same building or if they were in another building. And she started to go into panic mode and started repeating herself. And it's funny, like, to see people do that, because you have to be like, hey, take a break, breathe. You know, you're being really patronizing in a sense when they're not panicking, but when they are, it's like that's the only way to get them out of that mode. And it's just like, could you just tell me if the boat I want docks here? And she looked and she was like, you're going to Tonoshima or the Tono Do, I think it was, something like that. That's the exit you're taking from, or the port that you're going to from Takamatsu. So this is the port. And I'm like, okay, thank you. That's all I need. I found my boat, which we are taking the Yodon boat, which is pretty funny. The only worry I have is the fact that I went there and they weren't open. Like, I don't know what hours they work, but I do know that there's a boat coming back at the current moment. And so the fact that, and there were employees there, so it wasn't that they were totally closed. It's just that all their windows, all their ticket windows were closed. And maybe it's because there's no more boats going out today. But that was somewhat worrisome, so hopefully I can get my reservations converted, because they don't let you pay for your reservation in advance, so you have to pay at the office. And I also found out that they only accept cash and no credit card. So luckily, I have plenty of cash, because we've been using credit card like crazy. That is just a side note for future reference. To go to Shotoshima, you do need to spend cash, and if you have a boat or a car, if you had a boat, you wouldn't have to worry, right? But if you you could just sail yourself. But if you have a car, like I do, then you need to make sure you have plenty of cash to be able to get onto that boat, because I'm paying for a round trip ticket, obviously, for not only Lynn and myself, but for the car as well. And so that was kind of weird, but we just accepted what it was. We'll get there a little early tomorrow, so our boat out is at 8:02 exact. We'll try to get there at around like 7:15ish, hopefully. That way we could just kind of just hop on or get to the area, pay, and then figure out where the car needs to go. And hopefully we could do that in about 15-20 minutes, because the car needs to be there by 7:30. Technically, if we're there by 7:15, we were there prior to that, but we just need to make sure we know where the car needs to go. One of the nice things is that they do have people guiding you. So hopefully I could just show them and they'll tell me where to go park, and then I could go pay for the ticket, and the car will already be in line to get onto the boat, which I think that's the most important part. Other than that, we left. We went to Sukiya for dinner. Lynn got a beef bowl with radish and ponzu sauce, and I got one with cheese and kimchi. I made mine a set with a pork miso soup and a salad. Lynn just got her own salad on top of that, and that's kind of how we finished off. Lynn was impressed. It was, like I said, it's the best out of all three of the main beef bowl places that I'm aware of here in Japan. So that was kind of really cool. But we just sat there, ate. We noticed there was a lot of foreigners in there, and tried to help out as much as I could with folks that just didn't understand that you come in, sit down, order on the machine, and then they'll deliver it to you. So that is a normal system here. They did have the bar where you could go sit. It's definitely changed now, or at least in these parts, it's different than what I was used to, even from a few years ago. So that changed, but the food still remains delicious. It was still an amazing time. And I'm glad that Lynn was able to try it and actually see what it was like. So other than that, we finished up dinner, came back to the hotel. We're packing, getting ready to throw everything in the car so that we could have a easy and fast launch tomorrow. And then we'll be out to Shoroshima. All right, anyhow, have a great night, and I will see you on the boat in the morning.